Have you ever paused, maybe late at night or in the middle of a workday, and felt this quiet question rising in your mind? Why do I feel lost, even though everything in my life looks okay on the outside? It's confusing, isn't it? You're doing better than you were a few years ago. You've grown in your career, you've gained experience, exposure, and perspective. People recognize the value you bring. Some even admire you. And yet, there's this subtle emptiness sitting underneath it all. A soft whisper that asks, is this really it? That feeling can be uncomfortable. It can even be scary. But here's the truth you may need to hear right now. Feeling lost is not a failure. It's a signal, a sign that something inside you is shifting, expanding, or craving deeper meaning. Let me ask you something bold. If a person had everything, wealth, influence, achievement, respect, should they still feel this same emptiness? Most people would instinctively say no, but history gives us a surprising yes. Because one of the wealthiest, wisest, and most accomplished men ever recorded, King Solomon, felt exactly what you might be feeling right now. And he didn't hide it. He openly wrote about his experience. He said something along the lines of, "I achieved everything I wanted, but in the end, it felt like chasing the wind." Isn't that interesting? This wasn't coming from someone who lacked success. It wasn't coming from someone who didn't have opportunities. It wasn't coming from someone who felt incompetent or left behind. This came from a man who had everything, and yet felt nothing. Why? Because the life he spent years building stopped aligning with who he truly was. And that, right there, is the heart of what many young professionals today quietly struggle with. Think about this for a moment. What parts of your life feel heavy? Not because they're difficult, but because they don't feel like they belong to you anymore. Recognizing this feeling, naming it, is the first step towards clarity. But here's what makes this whole thing tricky. Emptiness rarely shows up loudly. It doesn't always arrive with dramatic signs. Sometimes it creeps in quietly, hidden behind busyness, constant productivity, external validation, or climbing a ladder you never questioned. And that's where the shift begins. Are you climbing a ladder that isn't yours? Let me offer you a simple but powerful question. If no one was watching, no parents, no friends, no mentors, no LinkedIn, would you still be building the exact life you're building right now? Or are you climbing a ladder because it looks right, not because it feels right? Here's something I've observed over and over with people in their mid-20s to mid-30s. We often choose the path that seems responsible. We do what's expected. We pursue what earns respect. We follow the route that appears stable, safe, and sensible. And for a while, it works. It even feels good. You gain stability, you make progress, you get recognized, you start winning in ways people can see. But then, one ordinary morning, or in the middle of a random afternoon, something inside you whispers, "I'm busy all the time, but I'm not connected to what I'm doing." That moment can shake you, because it forces you to confront a truth you may have been avoiding. And interestingly, Solomon felt exactly this same thing. He built entire cities, created massive gardens, designed palaces, accumulated wealth and influence on a historic scale. Yet he still said, "I began to hate the things I worked so hard for." Why would he say that? Because when you achieve without alignment, success feels shallow. It feels disconnected. It feels like you're living someone else's life instead of your own. And that's what many people are doing today without realizing it. We are, in one way or another, living borrowed lives. Borrowed expectations from parents, borrowed definitions of success from society, borrowed career paths we fell into instead of choosing intentionally.
You can have all the external wins and still feel a quiet ache inside. So ask yourself, what energizes you and what drains you? Even if you intentionally chose your path in the beginning, misalignment can slowly slip in over time. Why? Because busyness is one of the easiest places to hide from truth. Here's a small exercise that creates surprising clarity. Write down 3 things you're actively chasing right now. Then ask, did I consciously choose these, or am I simply following default expectations? Once you answer honestly, a bigger question will naturally emerge. Am I truly moving forward, or am I simply avoiding stillness? Because stillness is where alignment begins. Stillness is where you actually meet yourself. Stillness is where the truth becomes unavoidable. And that is exactly where Solomon found his clarity. So let's explore this deeper. What happens when someone who has everything still feels empty? Solomon had influence, he had wealth, he had wisdom, he had respect, he had power. And yet he admitted, all of this feels meaningless. His problem wasn't success, his problem was misalignment. He realized that external achievements could never satisfy internal emptiness. So what did he do? He asked himself one radical, simple question. What truly matters? Not prestige, not applause, not status, not accumulation. He went back to meaning, back to purpose, back to intentional living. And that's exactly the shift many people need today. Here's the modern translation. Stop chasing every shiny version of success society tells you to pursue. Step back and ask, which of your current projects actually energize you? Which responsibilities feel heavy because they don't align with who you are? Does your career reflect your values or just expectations? Solomon's realization was simple yet profound. A life without meaning will always feel empty, no matter how impressive the achievements are. Here's something small you can do this week. Take one quiet hour. List your priorities, your work, your ambitions, your responsibilities. Then mark which ones truly belong to you and which ones you've borrowed from someone else. That clarity, that moment of honesty, is your modern Solomon moment. And here's what I want you to remember. The discomfort you feel is not a flaw. It's not a sign you're failing. It's not proof you're behind. It's a signal, a sign that you're evolving, a sign that you're shifting from survival to purpose. You're not lost. You're transitioning. You're outgrowing old definitions of success. You're stepping into a deeper version of yourself. And clarity doesn't always require dramatic, life-altering changes. Most times, it simply requires alignment. Ask yourself gently, am I building a life that actually fits who I am becoming? If your answer is not fully, that's okay. That's honest. That's real. And that's where growth begins. Solomon realigned by choosing intention over noise, meaning over momentum, and fulfillment over external applause. And you can do the same. If this message resonated with you, go ahead and subscribe. You don't want to miss the next episode, where we'll dive deeper into timeless wisdom and show you how to turn clarity into purpose-driven action. Because your next chapter isn't about more hustle, it's about aligned action, genuine fulfillment, and meaningful growth.